Hey, good afternoon, everybody. So, one of the issues that we're having, that a lot of people are consistently telling me, is that they're having trouble with the customers and being able to input them properly. Sometimes it's affecting the way that our deals are pushed. Sometimes they have to come in for resigns. Um, our DMS and what finance uses and our sales towers use, they ultimately feeds back to CRM, and CRM feeds to that. So if the information is incorrect, we struggle from the very beginning. So I wanted to talk to you guys about that briefly. Now I'm going to share with you guys how to input a customer, and I think a lot of times what we do is, we have search client and we go for, their first and last name, which is fine. However, let's just, use this as an example. Powell, and first name is Nicole. If I search it, that's awesome. There's a customer there. However, that doesn't match my customer's phone number. So, it's important to search also. I think that first, always search by phone number, and it wouldn't hurt then to search by first and last name, just to make sure that their information didn't change, perhaps, and we can just update that profile. So here's the right phone number, and there is no profile. So in this instance, since the other one wasn't that my customer either, I'm going to go ahead and then add a new client. So one of the biggest things I always suggest is just start at the very beginning and work your way all the way down through the boxes. What we often do is we get busy. We need to put the customer in quickly, and we move on. We put in what we need to in order to push that deal, and so that the desk gets it, but we don't realize what it's affecting. Now, if my customer's name, for instance, is Kathleen, but and it's going to be titled under Kathleen, and I know this at the very beginning that the full name, like the first real name, is Kathleen, but we call her Kathy, or she wants to go by Kathy, we're ultimately going to want to still put in the full name correctly. And then we still have this box for preferred name, and we can put Kathy in that name. So continue going through here. Language, English versus Spanish. This is great for you Spanish-speaking folks that want to target those customers later on. You have a drop down. Does this person speak Spanish? Is this person that someone that would be ultimately later on, if we have something going on for those customers that we can then later target them, we can choose that box. Preferred contact method. Now, this preferred contact method is important because it's going to affect you down here later on. So I would do yourself a favor, choose cell phone. That's usually the preferred contact method. Obviously, if you have an email or something like that, it's okay to do that, but cell phone number is always great. Address, make sure that you're filling out your address here. I know it takes a few more minutes, but just do yourself the favor and fill it out now. So we're going to go through and fill out. Okay, so my computer generates that information because I just use that all the time for different items, so it already knows. And then I want to put my email address. Make sure you put the email address. It's super important for many different reasons. You can market this customer later through making your own campaigns. You can make sure that the dealership markets for you through email when they're doing their email campaigns. There's just a lot of different items that you can use it for. So I know we just go ahead and just don't fill it out or whatnot because we don't ask, or we assume that they don't want us to email them. Just ask them what the best email address is for them. So that way they can ensure that they're getting the coupons and other discounts from us that we offer for our customers. Make sure that, it's going to, I'm going to go ahead and just put mine. A cell phone number. Since I chose a preferred contact as cell, it's going to say, hey, I need your cell phone number. Now, if we don't choose anything, okay, let's just say, I don't choose anything. It's not going to suggest that to me. However, I would definitely, again, choose something and ensure that the number is in the right area, because later on, when you go to follow up this customer, you're going to maybe see a home number and a cell phone number, or a work number and a home number. And you may not remember that, oh, that home number is actually the cell phone number, but it generates into the home number. So pay attention to that, because whoever's following up with this customer, maybe your manager, maybe whoever it is, for CSI or whatnot, they're going to call the cell phone number for each them, versus just putting in the home number. So just do that. Do yourself a favor again, and put it in the right area. Where do I want to send the text to? I'm going to go ahead and put cell, obviously. And not all of you guys will have this business unit option, but some of you will. Many of you guys, it'll just default, and all of this stuff will default as well. Okay. Always ask your customer where they heard about us, because most people shop online, and we all know this, but yet we don't ask them. And many of you guys choose dealer website. So going back over here, are they a walk-in? Were they an internet lead? Is there a phone? Were they a phone up for you? Now, if there's already a customer inside of our CRM and they were an internet lead, you guys often make another prospect. We don't want to do that. We just want to make sure our manager adds us to that prospect, or call your BDC or whatnot, and get that changed, versus adding another prospect, because it affects a lot of different things. And as you guys start managing the internet leads, it's going to affect your numbers inside CRM and create duplicate processes for you, and it's be very frustrating. So let's just go with a walk-in. The status. These statuses won't do. I know that they're easy to use. We're going to get rid of them. But what status are they in? Are they contacted, turn to manager? Is it an appointment? They showed. Now we're following up. Where are they at in the process? And that's what I want you to do. So right now we're just going to do contacted process. But stop using the top ones just because it's easy. Really take the time, because it also generates different items in your to-dos based off the statuses. So we want to ask our customers, hey, where did you hear about us? Maybe it was an auto trader, maybe it was car gurus, or different things like that. So again, I know this one's easy. Let's make sure it's the right one, because at the end of the day, the dealership spends hundreds of thousands of dollars on marketing, and you want to make sure that at the end of the day, they're making the best decision for you guys, so that way they're spending the right dollars in the right spots, and ultimately you benefit from that. Because when we come to the conversation of, hey, what sources do we want to get rid of, you don't want it to be one that you heard a lot of your customers actually come from, but yet you never marked it right. And so now the company's considering getting rid of them, because we aren't aware of how great that source is to you and the company. So just take a moment and just ask them the question, and mark it appropriately. Your name should generate here. All right. And then we're going to be able to either add, or you can also do advanced. And that's going to do another drop down here. Okay. Anything that you know about the customer, I would highly suggest just go ahead and get it done all at once, and do the advanced, put their social security number if you have it, if you're at that point. If you know any of this information, just put it in. It's a lot easier. Is their spouse, do they have a spouse, and who is that? Um, any children, privacy issues, and then, of course, you can always then add your sales steps. And, obviously, if they're in the store, we did a greeting, we did an fun appraisal. Ideally, we had the EMI at this point already. And we're, we're heading towards, and down the sales process. Now, what we want to do, by the way, the sales steps will generate differently according to the type that you put in here. Okay. Now, it still will generate most of these here, but there may be some stuff ahead of there that may be like an appointment or an appointment shown, things like that that'll help you track your numbers and know where you're at and what you're getting accomplished. You can then add a desired vehicle. You can search by the stock number if you have it, or let's just say you don't have it. Now we need to search for one, and it's a 14. Let's just search for something here. Okay, so all these are 14s. So I could just choose one of these and it'll automatically fill in. But let me show you something here. If, for instance, you just took a phone up and now you're putting this phone up in the system, and they're not on a specific stock number. They want the newer body styles Silverado, and they don't want a new one, but they want a 14, to a 16. And they want, again, the new Silverado. I'm just going to go 1500. Okay. You can do this year range. Go ahead and you can fill in a little bit more information. I always suggest doing less detail so that way at the end of the day you can call them on more options. But obviously we want to pay attention to a crew cab or a double cab. I know there's so many options and it kind of gets frustrating sometimes because it narrows it down a lot. But if you can, choose the right one. But again, be careful with it because there's 3, regular cab work trucks here. They're all very similar. I can even see the end of these. I don't want to limit myself and not be able to hit this matchmaker in a moment and get, just different alerts for possibly, options for my customer that I could call them on later. The vehicle is going to be a truck. Again, narrowing it down too much may hurt you in the long run because it's not going to allow you to do this matchmaker. And the matchmaker helps you get notified when there's a vehicle that's matching what the customer is looking for. And so that way, hey, it's going to say, hey, call this customer. We just got one in that matches what this customer is looking for. So it assists you by allowing you not to have to do so much work. So max price, the maximum that they want to pay is $35,000. They don't want any more than 100,000 miles on it. I would be more, less aggressive with the mileage. If they say, no more than 30,000, you might want to give yourself up to 40,000 because perhaps they might consider it if it's really truly the right truck. So just, be a little bit flexible on that and give yourself a little bit of room so that way you have more options to call your customer on. Hit this matchmaker. If, again, if I don't have a stock number, I have year range, and hit that matchmaker and it's going to alert you if we get something in our inventory and allow you to not have to do so much work. So this is a good example of like you take a phone up or things like that, or even if you had a customer come in and we just didn't have what they're looking for, so we need to pay attention to that. You can go ahead and add your trade at this moment too. I know this is a lot, but I'm telling you, if you put this information in, you're going to save yourself so much time with the back and forth and the paperwork and having to fill out things and re-signs and all of that. So putting your VIN in is going to help you decode, those items there. But if you don't have it, so again, phone ups and things like that are going to prevent you all the time from having every bit of that information, but it doesn't mean you can't put the trade in. The more information here, the better. Do they purchase an extended warranty, license plate number, all of that. Now this is the trade information, the appraisal. All of this is the appraisal, okay? This is if they come back for any reason, maybe the mileage changed. You want to put the exact mileage, by the way. So don't just guess. When you did the walk around on their trade, you should have gotten that information. So you should be able to put that in here. If they happen to come back and the mileage changes, you'll want to change this. But when they appraise it, say they appraised it at 42, 42,111, but the customer had to come back. So it was 42,111 up here, but now it's 42,567. Don't change this, just change this. Okay. The appraised date. Okay, anything that you know about this. So how much, how much are we giving them for the vehicle? How much is that actually worth? So what are we showing them, and what are we giving them? If that makes sense, if you know that information, the better. So what is their payoff? Make sure that you're including this. I don't care if it's $100. Make sure that you're including what their payoff is. Again, it all populates, okay? And did they buy it new or used? All right, so now we have a full, again, if you know any of this information, put it in there. But we have now a full, filled out client prospect, or profile, I apologize, client profile. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and add. It's now telling me, because I went ahead and opted them in for text, so it's telling me they're going to send that for me. Okay, great. So they're going to go ahead and get an opt-in. If the customer's sitting right there with you, just let them know they're going to get an opt-in. You're about to get an opt-in. Can you just go ahead and reply yes? And that would be a lot easier than having to explain that over the phone later on. I'm going to go ahead and pass that because none of those people match. You may have to get your manager to approve that. All of your managers can. So now we are successfully at the contact information screen. The profile is completely set up, as much as I know, and I'm ready to rock. So do yourself a favor again. Fill out fill out all of the information that you can. When you're initially putting the customer in, it's going to save you tons and tons of time later on. And ultimately, you're going to be able to not have to do so much cleanup on your paperwork because of the little things that you did at the very initial time of inputting your customer. So I hope that really helps. And I know that it's a lot of tedious stuff, and I know you guys get really busy and we're just trying to push a deal. We just want to create a deal. But those little things are what stops you from selling another car a couple days from now because you're running around trying to get re-signs or get accurate items when initially you could have spared yourself all that time, and 2 days from now you could be selling a different customer versus having to clean up what you did 2 days ago. So if you have any questions, again, Kathleen Spurrier here. Always call my cell phone, text my cell phone. It's 816-985-2164. Have a wonderful day.